Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Nerdarchy Dave.
And today we have the Bladesinger versus the Eldritch Knight. Hey guys, jump down to the description below. We can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So over on our Druid versus Nature Priest video, I believe we had a request for us to do Bladesinger versus Eldritch Knight. Bladesinger you can find as a wizard tradition in the Skag Sword Coast Adventures Guide, while Eldritch Knight is in your player's handbook.
So that Bladesinger is on page 142 of your Skag, as we call it. This tradition has been around for a while.
Second edition.
So I remember making Bladesinger way back then, and it was one of my favorite characters. Now, I don't remember exactly how many things it gave, but it really gave that character a feel of every time you go into combat, this is what he does. And I thought that was really cool. But looking through and comparing the two, it really depends upon what you're really looking for, is to decide how useful is it.
Yeah, so originally in second edition, the Bladesinger was meant to be a Gish character, fighter wizard, basically. Well, in fifth edition, there's a lot of Gishes just built right into the classes.
Right.
So where the Eldritch Knight is mixing in spellcasting with fighting,
that's kind of what Bladesinging does.
No, it does the opposite.
Well,
Bladesinging takes spellcasting and mixes in fighting ability. And it's don't get me wrong, the Bladesinger wizard tradition is fun. There's a couple things about one, you have to be an elf. It does mention the possibility of possibly extending it to half elves. In our own homebrew games, we've discussed, well, what about other races having their own version? Their own version. And, Dwarven Axe Dancers, I think, is one of the things that we kind of came up with, which could be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we could come up with something for gnomes and the other races as well. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is there's a couple problems with the Bladesinger wizard. It's fun, and it does do some good things, and you can put together some really cool combos.
Correct. Now, I will say that if you're looking to do martial combat and you want to have a combination of martial ability and wizardry, having a little bit of fighter and a little bit of Bladesinger is a good way to go, because you want stuff from both. But if you're looking that you have to single class and you're looking to go, I'm a melee weapon combatant, I'm going to say the Eldritch Knight wins.
Yeah, it really does feel like if you're a Bladesinger, you your most optimal thing you can do is cast spells.
Right.
And cast them from the other side of the room or battlefield, if possible.
So that's the real thing where I think the Bladesinger kind of fails. So when you actually dive down into it, you're a wizard, which means by the time you're getting some of these high-level abilities, you've got the high-level spell. So it's like, all right, I can be Bladesinging and doing these cool things. Am I going to run up and smack it twice, or am I going to cast Fireball or Meteor Swarm or any of these other fantastic spells that are out there?
Disintegrate, Power Word, Kill.
Well, those are the real higher level ones. So, all right, 6th level, you get extra attack. All right, so now you can swing twice, but last level, you got Fireball.
Right, how much damage are you going to do with your longsword?
You've got the ability early on to be doing some extra damage. You're getting bonuses to different things based off of your intelligence modifier that you wouldn't be able to do. But the real thing that I think fails is at 14th level, you get to add your intelligence modifier to your weapon damage while you're Bladesinging.
It almost feels like you should get that
first.
I mean, I guess it might be a little bit too good, because if you're adding your stat, your primary attack stat, and then on top of that, you're adding your intelligence bonus, that would be kind of a lot early on. Right. At second level, we're just going to say you have 16s in both of those stats. That's a +6 to damage. It's double. And for a while, it's going to kind of outstrip the other classes in what you can do. Mm-hmm. Sort of. Because at the same time, an Eldritch Knight at first level well, he's not even an Eldritch Knight yet. He's just a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But he can take Duelist and get a +2 to damage, so he's almost there.
Right.
So maybe maybe it wouldn't be, and give them something else at 14th level.
Now, I will say, if you decide you want to go whole hog on the blade singing, at 10th level, you're at your halfway point for the power arc, for lack of a better word. That's where you can sack out spells to reduce damage when you get hit. And let's face it, you're a wizard, you're wearing light armor, you're gonna get hit.
Well, that being said, I mean, you're using 2 of your stats to your armor class, and you get the bonus of is it +1 or +2 for leather, or studded leather, whatever the best light armor you can wear. Oh, you can get up to a 3.
I think so. I could be wrong. I'm correct. Yeah, I'm incorrect. You're right too.
So you can get 2 from your armor. You can get another 6 from stats. That's an 18. As a wizard, medium wearing light armor, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but given given my game where you're wearing heavy armor and you're casting shield spells and you have magical bonuses, you still get hit on a decent amount. So having an 18, even when you can say, all right, I can sack out my first level spells all the time for that +5, you're still gonna hit that. You're still gonna get hit 50% of the time.
No way, not 50%. Not with a 23 armor class. Up until maybe at the higher levels, if you're talking like 10th level and beyond.
This is where I'm talking at 10th level.
Up until you get to 10th or more. I'm not sure exactly where the cutoff would happen. That 23 armor class is going to make you get missed most of the time. Now you get to 10th level and you can go, okay, well, I can't get, you just know you can't get missed. You have an idea. So you're like, I'm not going to waste my shield spell. And instead, you use your Bladesinger ability to absorb the damage.
So what you have the ability to do is you can sack out a level of the spell to reduce damage by 5 times the level of the spell slot that you've used. Now, this is a fantastic ability if you're really looking to say, all right, well, I'm going to fuel my protection with wizard spell slots. And, all right, if you're at those high levels, 14th and 15th, and you've got 5th, 6th, 7th level spell slots to burn on attacks so that you can smack it with your sword, hey, by all means. But look at the amount of damage that you could be doing if you were just laying into them with those spell slots.
And possibly from a safe distance. So, that is kind of the other thing. And, even when you get to higher levels, when you're, you get your access to your signature spell and you get access to your spell mastery, sure, you can cast, you're probably gonna go with shield at will. Makes no sense to do anything other than that.
Correct.
And for your second level at will, I'm not sure where you might go. Maybe mirror image, maybe blur, something you can use all the time. But also, again, you have to look, well, is it a concentration spell? Is it worth casting blur if I could just have haste instead? And if you're making attacks in melee, then obviously you probably want to be hasted in order to do that.
But haste, it's third, so you don't get that as an all the time thing.
You could do it once a day with your signature spell.
At 20th.
At 20th, and you also don't have to memorize it.
Correct.
I don't know if it's 20th or 18th, but it's high up there. It's it's probably 20th. This is probably a capstone ability. So all in all, the Bladesinger, flavorful, fun. It just makes more sense to cast spells if you're a wizard. There's better ways to Gish.
So if you go Eldritch Knight, this is where I get to slap on the heavy armor. I get all the attacks that every other fighter gets. And then on top of it, I'm getting access to all of the combat spells. I can cast shield, I can cast blur, I can cast mirror image, I can cast haste. And all the while, I'm getting just as many attacks as everybody else. If I decide I want 2 weapons, I can be bonus action to attacking with that offhand.
You probably would not do that. Just saying.
Well,
as an Eldritch Knight. So Eldritch Knight, here's the strength. The strength of Eldritch Knight is I'm a fighter, I fight things, and I can sometimes cast spells. Now, there's some really good fighter abilities that I think dovetail nicely into your spell casting, such as Action Surge. All right, well, you can do something in a round that no no other caster can do. You can drop 2 full spells, any spell you want, same round. Sorcerer, close with twin spell, but it isn't quite the same. Now, a sorcerer with fighter level, so they have action surge, disgusting. Because you could technically action surge and twin spell twice. Now,
some ideas.
So, but we're going to set that aside. We're not talking about that right now. Now, the other ability that a fighter gets that I think would come in useful as well is Indomitable Will. Or no, it's not Indomitable. It's just Indomitable. So, several times a day, you're going to get to reroll saving throws. Could be very useful if you're trying to kind of keep a concentration spell going or just not to have something bad happen. The weakest part about being an Eldritch Knight is your spell casting. It's limited. You don't get a lot of it. So you're going to go through it kind of fast.
You do get significantly lower spell slots than the wizard, and you get them later. You're not going to start spell casting until you become an Eldritch Knight.
And you max out like 4th level spells. So there's that. And then the other, so then there's some fun things like War Magic. You get it at 7th level. At 7th level, it is a decent ability. But as you progress to 11th level and beyond, it's going to be really tough to decide if you want to use that or not. And the reason being is when you cast a cantrip as a bonus action, you can make a weapon attack. Now, granted, cantrip scale, so at the higher levels, you're looking at 4, 5d10 damage. But when you compare that to making 4 weapon attacks, where you're going to add your strength to the damage. If you're a duelist, you're going to add a +2 to every one of those attacks. If you're using a heavy weapon, you take the -5 penalty to get a +10 on all of your attacks. That's 40 points of damage. By the time that's all said and done. So then it becomes a very difficult decision on whether you take a weapon attack as well as cast your cantrip. Eventually that ability upgrades to the point where you can actually cast a full spell and not just a cantrip, making it a little bit more attractive. But again, like we said, you're only going to have 4th level spell slots.
Here is a key place where I double check the wording. You could use, hey look, that guy over there, firebolt, longbow. It doesn't say melee weapon attack.
Oh yeah, you could absolutely do that.
So at a range, it becomes really good.
Yes, you know what? You're absolutely right. I think, although you could have just took 4 longbow shots as well. So,
right. Well.
So that being said, but that would be one place where it is kind of an option. Also, there's a couple other abilities that are really cool. Weapon Bond it's kind of a ribbon ability.
It's a ribbon ability, but like I kind of look at this is one that is a bane to the DM capture thing.
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, well, it's definitely neat, but now I don't have the ability to strip someone of their gear and present them with a challenge because it's like, I got my weapon.
Yeah. So there's that part. Or if you want to feel like Thor, you can like throw your hammer and call it back as a bonus action. There is some cool things with that. So it is only a bonus action. It is not as good as the weapon bond that a warlock gets because their weapon becomes magic, or yours is just whatever it was. It's whatever you bond it to. Eldritch Strike. Here's one of the places that I found war magic is super sweet. Right? You use your war magic to use your bonus action first, and you take an attack. Well, if you hit someone with that attack, they now have disadvantage on their spell saving throws from you until the end of your next turn. So this turn, you could hit them as a bonus action, then either use a cantrip or a full spell, and then you could turn around on the next turn and just take, either whether you wanted to do that again or use spells, but either way, you've just given them disadvantage to their saving throw against spells.
Which is always a nice little thing to make it harder for them to resist what you're doing.
One of the ones that I kind of like, I must have read about it before and forgot about it, and I think it's really cool, and that is the Arcane Charge, which is freaking sweet. When you action surge, you just get a free teleport. 30 feet. You can take it wherever you want in your sequence turn. So that really makes action surge even more useful, a lot more fun. For instance, if you were to you decide to use your war magic, smack them with your sword, and then teleport because you just action surged away from them 30 feet. You don't have to withdraw or anything. Then you hit them with your fireball or your most devastating spell. But guess what? You action surge, so you can do that again now. And then also like spells that'd be fun with your Eldritch Knight. Obviously, you want to have shield, haste, those kind of things. But it's going to just take a long time to get there. What I find I like Eldritch Knight for, because I'm actually playing one.
Right.
And I'm playing a Gish, but I'm an Invoker Wizard. And I like, hey, 6 levels of Eldritch Knights gives you some fun things to do. And it also adds to your spellcasting abilities, gives you more proficiencies, armor, stuff like that. So what I'm actually thinking, the best way to use a Bladesinger is like take 6 levels of... You could take 6 levels of Eldritch Knight and really boost your martial abilities and give yourself a hit point bump, depending on which class you go with first. You could get that Constitution as your good saving throw. So
six levels of Eldritch Knight and then 14 levels of Bladesinger actually gives you access to everything that Bladesinger offers.
Yes. So now that might be a fun combination. Again, it's not optimized. I honestly feel like the Eldritch Knight is actually the weakest fighter option. I just think it's fun. So
there's... It really, we're not going to get into that kind of debate, but it really does come down to how you're going to play certain characters, who's running the game, what style of game it is. Now, we had a conversation off air about how some people run dungeon crawls, some people do light combat games, and depending upon what that style is really going to make how effective your character build is.
Like I said, they're both fun to play. Are they the most optimized or effective? No. But generally, when you have a broad base of abilities, that's exactly it. You have more options, then generally they tend to be less powerful options. But hey guys, if you're building Gishes in your game, how do you do it? Do you use the Bladesinger? Do you use the Eldritch Knight? Do you combine the two? Or do you do something completely different? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy. And I thought that was really cool. But looking through and comparing the two, it really depends upon what you're really looking for is to decide how useful is it.
Yeah, so originally in 2nd edition, the Bladesinger was meant to be a Gish character, fighter wizard, basically. Well, in 5th edition, there is a lot of Gishes just built right into the classes.
Right.
So where the Eldritch Knight is mixing in spellcasting with fighting.
That's kind of what Bladesinging does.
No, it doesn't. And the other races as well. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is there's a couple problems with the Bladesinger wizard. Like, it's fun, and it does do some good things, and you can put together some really cool combos.
Correct. Now, I will say that if you're looking to do martial combat and you want to have a combination of martial ability and wizardry, having a little bit of fighter and a little bit of Bladesinger is a good way to go because you want stuff from both. But hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Nerdarchy Steve.
And today we have the Bladesinger versus the Eldritch Knight. Hey guys, jump down to the description below. We can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So over on our Druid versus Nature Priest video, I believe we had a request for us to do Bladesinger versus Eldritch Knight. Bladesinger you can find as a wizard tradition in the Skag Sword Coast Adventures guide. It's the opposite. Well, Bladesinging takes spellcasting and mixes in fighting ability. And don't get me wrong, the Bladesinger wizard tradition is fun. There's a couple things about one, you have to be an elf. It does mention the possibility of possibly extending it to half-elves. In our own homebrew games, we've discussed, well, what about other races having their own version? Their own version. And, Dwarven Axe Dancers, I think, is one of the things that we kind of came up with, which could be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, we could come up with something for Nomad, while Eldritch Knight is in your player's handbook.
So that Bladesinger is on page 142 of your Skag, as we call it. This tradition has been around for a while.
2nd edition.
So I remember making Bladesinger way back then. and was one of my favorite characters. Now, I don't remember exactly how many things it gave, but it really gave that character a feel of every time, you know, you go into combat, this is what he does.